Welcome to the Arlington Street Church podcast. Founded in 1729, Arlington Street continues today as a gathering place for progressive people of faith in the greater Boston area and beyond. We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Please visit ascboston.org for more information about this historic Unitarian Universalist congregation. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.
The Earth is 4.6 billion years old. Scaling to 46 years, we've been here for 4 hours, and our Industrial Revolution began just 1 minute ago. And in that time, we have destroyed more than 50% of the world's forests, a quote and theory by Greenpeace USA. This is a letter from Mother Earth to humanity today. Dear humanity, I have watched every single one of you grow up. I have watched those heartbreaking moments where you feel like no one is there for you. I have watched those moments where you have danced with joy, feeling like you're in fields of flowers, singing and smiling till your jaw hurts. I'm there when you were born. I'm there when you pass. I'm here now, and I love you so much. But I wonder if maybe you don't love me back. You are hurting me, and I need you more now than you will ever need me. Trees are a universal set of lungs that I have created for all the animals to use, and you, foolishly, have destroyed them. You didn't realize that you weren't only taking your breaths away, but you were also taking the other animals' breaths away. You didn't care. And I regret to inform you, but most of you still don't. You drilled holes into me, digging and drilling, hacking and fracking so deeply into me, you no longer know how to stop the bleeding. I sit here, bleeding while you fight over whether you should continue my suffering or to protect me. Please choose to protect me. You burn me and drown me with chemicals and fires, not really focusing on the fact that I can only take so much of this destruction. Eventually, I will break. I created oceans and waterways as another universal necessity. While you need it for drinking and bathing purposes, it is also the homes to others. You have wasted my water by poisoning it, sometimes killing off entire species because you took their home away from them. The damage to my oceans and waterways are, in a way, your own emotions in physical form. You have created a place that is feelingless and painful for each other and yourselves. If only you could see. I'm not saying these words from a place of hatred or violence, but a place of love. I want you to look around at your surrounding beautiful humans and feel again. Feel who you are, go within yourself and fight for me because I am inside of all of you. You can hear me in others' voices and in the rustle of leaves. You can see me in a small child's eyes and in a meadow full of flowers. You can feel me when you are petting your furry companions at home or in the hugs that you get when you really need a hug. I am here and will always be. Take the leap of faith to protect me with all you've got, and I will hold your hand as you take that leap. It is time to find the love again, my wondrous humans. Thank you, and I love you, Mother Earth. As I was writing this letter and putting my feet into Mother Earth's shoes, I realized that some of you may be feeling an urge to fight back and say that you yourself and even this congregation as a whole are not harming the earth. We recycle, we reduce, we reuse, but it's just not enough anymore. We need to work together to restore the justice Mother Earth deserves, because we certainly have gotten so much out of her. This is no longer a human race to see which human is the best, but this is humanity, a unit that needs to work together to seek the betterment of our home. Stop using lines of segregation to define where our feelings should stop. Stop using the blame game to get out of putting in the hard work that is dealing with climate change. Stop only focusing on human benefits. Stop wasting water. Stop killing species. Stop deforestation. Stop hurting our Mother Earth, our home, our Gaia. She needs us more than we will ever need her. Stop hurting her, stop hurting yourself, stop hurting me, Start listening to her. Thank you.
When I feel uncertain, I look to the water, see it fraught with life or still, whichever the case may be, and consider the mounting evidence that on my way to it, it has bound to have changed. On my path from home to forest, a frog has leapt from its perch upon a rotting tree stump to reevaluate the softened ground before the river banks, the soft squish of the earth in considering the options. A fish has leapt from the surface, thinking maybe it'll learn to fly as the birds above it do. The birds soar above the water, though still a part of it, searching for dinner as the fish continue downstream. How simple it all seems to me, how calm, how unlike the rest of the world. Up the hill and up the street, I watch the news every night to see what atrocities have been committed in the past 12 hours, waiting for the body counts to see how extraordinary they are relative to those of yesterday and the day before, trying to not be so desensitized but struggling so. Feeling the words before they are spoken that gay Chechens are being slaughtered by law enforcement, that trans people will no longer be welcome in the United States military, that a girl from my high school died from an overdose on her 16th birthday, that justice seems so far from so many bodies laid upon ground, nameless, waiting for their mothers and partners and siblings to identify the names that they once belonged to. Every day I awake in the morning to the gut-wrenching hurt that I cannot guarantee my own safety walking down the street in my own neighborhood, and that I will forever walk this earth without so many of the people I so desperately love and whose voices I want nothing more than to hear again, knowing fully well that American politics have floated so far from love that I do not know if the people I care about are safe being themselves anymore. I feel small. It's so easy to feel small when the love seems to have left and the world seems so uncertain and in flux. That said, the world is in fact in flux. Just as I can never predict whether the river will be alive or still, I must know that this moment, the one that seems to teeter so precariously on the edge of being, will just as shortly change. The only certainty in life is that there are none. Knowing that today was yesterday's tomorrow, we must also know that today has its own tomorrow, and that is yet to come. And tomorrow must be better not only because we demand it, and we do demand it, and because I'm not really sure it could get much worse than this, but because the absolute soul-crushing pain of wanting to be better than this lets us know that we are still so in love with humanity for better or for worse, that we are drawn here on a Sunday morning looking for God in each other or otherwise. Look around you. See how many people there are here, all of whom feel the hurt of the world in some way or another. So my advice is that we all feel the hurt for all that it's worth, because in hurting so severely, we must acknowledge that the love is not gone from the world. When the river is wildly alive and the storm ravages down on it, it is only a short while before the grass springs up, and it does not do so in spite of the rain, but because of it. The fish continue downstream, the birds wait in their nests, the river still flows in the sun just as the same. Do not give up on speaking every word you have drenched with love. Thank you.
Oh, I am waking up to find my world between the dying and being reborn. I see what is and I see what could be. Can't close my eyes again and go back to sleep. Fill my days with blessed unrest and my nights with dreams of justice. make me a vessel for the turning of the tide. Fill my days with blessed unrest, and my nights with dreams of justice. Make me a vessel for the turning of the tide. How can I change our course? Just a lonely voice. Wish I could lose myself in all the noise. But if we all would rise, a generation proud, then with a mighty song, we could turn this world around. Sing it with me. So fill my days with blessed unrest, and my nights with dreams of justice. Make me a vessel for the turning of the tide. Fill my days with blessed unrest, and my nights with dreams of justice. Make me a vessel for the turning of the tide. Ancestors all behind, and before me every child. Ancestors all behind, and before me every child. Ancestors all behind, and before me every child. I bring the power of a long unbroken line. So when our time is through, I want to know, did what we came to do for the future ones. So in our darkest days, may we all be strong and give our lives so life may go on. Fill my days with blessed unrest, and my nights with dreams of justice. Make me a vessel for the turning of the tide. Fill my days with blessed unrest, and my nights with dreams of justice. Make me a vessel for the turning of the tide. Fill my days with blessed unrest, and my nights with dreams of justice. Make me a vessel for the turning of the tide. Fill my days with blessed unrest, and my nights with dreams of justice. Make me a vessel for the turning of the tide. For the turning of the tide. One more time. For the turning of the tide.
As a recent graduate of high school, a number of burdens that used to plague my adolescent existence have finally been relieved. For example, I can rest easy with the knowledge that the decision-making capacity of myself and my peers is no longer ruled by aggressive hormone development, and I won't have to consume vaguely plastic foods at lunch again. For real though, I am glad that I no longer have to study classics or Latin, both required courses of the program I was in. Yes, I dreaded the stuffy texts of Virgil and the overcompensating manliness of Caesar's Gallic wars, and yet I will admit that one thing piqued my interest, which was the Greek concept of agape. One of three Greek words for love, alongside eros, intimate love, and philia, a reciprocal friendship love. Agape is a wider love that extends to all people and all things. In the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., agape is a love which seeks nothing in return. It is a love that loves the person who does the evil deed while hating the deed that person does. And Unitarian Universalism is a faith that embraces this love. After all, our first principle affirms the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It pushes us to that agape love. This is a constant love. This is an intentional love. And yet, I know within my heart and within our church communities that this most difficult form of love is not being lived up to. Especially in the light of recent political events within the past week and year, how many of us can really say we actively forgive those conscious and unconscious perpetrators of oppression? I know for sure I can't. A rage has entered my body, crowding out the space where I once held patience and forgiveness for beliefs that do not align with my own. And I'm sure others have felt this anger too. I would like to share a story about someone who conquered this rage, a story about that radical prophet of love, Martin Luther King Jr. After an extensive tour, King had just returned to Birmingham, Alabama in the fall of 1962 to give an address to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference as their president. In front of over 1,000 people, a young white member of the Nazi Party jumped on stage and punched King several times in the head and neck before security could reach them. For the whole time, King did not move away. He did not flinch, but he took the beating, and after requested that the young man be allowed to take his seat again before continuing with his address. Later, he said, "This system that we live under creates people such as this youth. I'm not interested in pressing charges. I'm interested in changing the system that produces this type of man." Wow. What love. And if we want to create a world of peace, if we want to give life the shape of justice, we must listen again to the words of our chalice lighting, which says we are the ones we've been waiting for. It is that time to begin loving our enemies with that radical agape intention. It is that time to recognize that our faith is not just bound up in the lives of the oppressed, but in the lives of our oppressors. It is that time to embrace the uncertainty. It is that time to wake up to the revolutionary love that has been here since the beginning. That time is now. Amen and blessed be.
I have been told to bring hope to the hopeless, but I don't think that I can. I would like to talk about what hope really means, as I believe the definition is sometimes muddled. Hope is a feeling. It is wanting. Wanting for something, someone, somewhere. Even if you know that what you're wishing and waiting for is impossible, you still hope. You may be in a situation of complete lack of opportunity and still not be hopeless. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." I believe that no one can make you feel anything without your consent, including hopelessness. I have been in situations where I have felt hopeless, and it is an ugly and sour emotion that feels like a hole in your chest, like your body is empty. To be hopeless is to be dangerous for both others and especially yourself. In my times of feeling like nothing but useless, I've found that there is so much that I haven't seen yet that I still want to. I want to make the lives of disabled people easier and end discrimination against them. I want to introduce my parents to a person that I'm in love with. I want to adventure and explore and learn because this is such a big and beautiful and wondrous world, and I have seen so little of it. But if I'm being honest, the bad feelings, unsurprisingly, often overpower my bucket list. Those times are the hardest. There are times when all I can do is just stare into space. There are times when my only sense of temporary relief comes from being distracted from my feelings. Feelings that I rarely talk about, by the way, so consider yourselves very lucky. Situations like those have taught me that the things worth toughing it out for aren't ones just for you to accomplish, but for the people that you love. I want to see my sister open her very own farm. I want to see my parents in a financially stable and happy home together. The things that keep you going don't have to be all about you. They can be about that big and beautiful and wondrous world around you. I hope that if you all ever feel hopeless, you can find someone that you love to hold on to, because they are the people that make living worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's podcast. We would love to hear from you via email at office@ascboston.org or through our Facebook page. If you would like to support the good work of Arlington Street Church, please consider a contribution by check in the mail or through our website, ascboston.org.